guys, Dabu 7. We've got saber rattling coming out of Russia in terms of World War III and Vladimir Putin flexing and trying to tell Europe that, look, if you don't back off, we're ready to go to war if you try to do something here. He is directly blaming France, Germany, the UK, their leadership for constantly wanting to fight, regardless of any situation. They see Russia as the big bad boogeyman, so to speak, and that they're fueling everything with Ukraine. Now that the United States is like pulling out of the whole thing and trying to set up a peace process, Putin has his eyes set square and he's putting a threat out there. He's saying that they don't want to pick a fight, but if they bring it to them, they're ready. They're ready for war right now. And that if this doesn't cease and stop at this point, that's where it's going to go. As soon as the United States steps out of the fray, then all eyes go on to these other countries in terms of Russia. He also goes on to say here that this is an opportunity for them to make peace, and if they don't, there's not going to be anyone left to negotiate with. Meaning they'll be wiped off the map if something happens here. Then at the same time, you have Chinese and Japanese boats squaring off in a standoff near Taiwan. And really, the sides of World War III are there. Yes, China and Russia have each other's back and they're supporting Venezuela. But when it comes to Latin America, there's a whole slew of countries that are going to fall on the side of the United States. With really Cuba, the biggest support Venezuela has there. But it could pop off here in any moment on that front. It's already going down here in the Ukraine, and we'll see where this goes from here. But these are the latest threats here coming from Putin, just flat out saying they're ready for war if they want to push it. And this is outside of Ukraine because their vessels are getting hit all around the globe now. So Russia's like, look, fair game. If our stuff's getting hit all around the globe on the other side of Africa, drone struck, then any and all of you are fair game, is how he's putting it. This sets the whole world up as a stage for war. Literally, World War III in motion with all these countries. Join me for the live streams going live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, talking about this in further detail. Hope to see you guys there. Much love.
First and foremost, before we get started, I'd like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rekah Kwadash, and double honors to those great millstone while learned his truth, and also to those elect that are scattered abroad. I like to say, Shalom. Come back here today with another great and powerful lesson through the spirit and the power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. And the title of today's lesson is News and Prophecy, War Threats. So I like to say Shalom to all our listeners and learners. Hope to sweep you today and guide you back in the path of righteousness and back to your true power, which in fact is Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah. So before we start today's lesson, I have a news article here by the BBC. And it reads that Russia, U.S. talks on Ukraine peace plan, constructive but no compromise, reach on territory, says the Kremlin. So this news article came out December the 2nd. So we're seeing right now in the first video by Dabu 7, saying that, Russia is warning NATO, they keep, poking the bear that they're going to, implement war upon them, So, we're seeing a lot of things that are going back and forth. So, rumors of wars are all over the place. Also, we're seeing right now that at any given time, that America could go into Venezuela. He already, DJ Donald Trump has gave the president of Venezuela, what's his name, Carlos, I think, Maduro, said this is his last warning before they come in. and he's trying to negotiate, trying to negotiate back and forth. But, we already know that, what is getting ready to happen. We know that the war drums are beating. Also, we know that World War III is right upon us. And one thing about it, we see these things, left and right. But the Lord is calling these things to happen. The Lord is what is gathering the nation for what the controversy of Zion. The Lord is calling these things to happen left and right. And also, the Lord is putting the hooks in Russia's jaw. Get that old ancient spirit. That old that USR I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Soviet Union, the old Soviet Union, that Russian spirit, what they had back in the past, is coming back upon them once again. So the USSR, that's what I was trying to say. But anyway, we see it right here. So Russia is wanting NATO. NATO, they're going back and forth. Also, we know that, in the past couple of weeks that Russia been constantly going into NATO airspace. And also they were saying that Russia was saying that there is that Europe and different parts of Europe is constantly compromising the peace deal with Ukraine and America. So a lot of things that's constantly happening. So let's get a little keynotes of this little report here, and we'll talk about the video in a minute. It said talks between Russia and President Putin. It says, and U.S. envoy says Steve Witkoff were constructive, but there is more work to do. And advisors at the meeting said. So I think I looked at another news article that this meeting went on for 5 hours, but they still has not come up with no a peace deal just of yet, because Europe is keep bucking up against it. Saying that it's not going to be any peace. They saying that they don't like the deal that America is giving Russia, so they're going back and forth. But we already know we're not ignorant of Satan's device. It said foreign policy advisor, I can't say that name, I can't speak Russian, but anyway, you see it right there. So also says no compromise was reached over territorial concession by Ukraine. So that's what they're constantly, saying that America is ready to deal with the land, the regions that Russia could have, but Europe is saying something different. So they constantly, putting a monkey wrench in this peace deal. And see, let's get a little bit more. It said a meeting between Vladimir Putin, U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff said with Trump son-in-law and advisor Gerard Kismer said in Moscow lasted about 5 hours. So seeing right there that they saying constantly trying to come to a peace deal. When they say peace and safety, then total destruction will come upon it. So it took 5 hours just to come to what? No compromise. It still hasn't reached no type of deal, because the Lord is calling these things to happen. It will be no peace. It's going to be what? Destruction like you have never seen before. It says that Putin earlier said Europe peace deal demands were not acceptable. So adding, we are not going to fight with Europe. Said, but if Europe wants to fight with us, we are ready right now. So Putin ain't backing down. So we see it right now that, we know that they're going back and forth. We seeing what's going on in Venezuela, also between China and Japan. They constantly bucking up. They constantly flexing their muscle. And also, it's already rumors left and right, been, for couple of years that they're going to invade Taiwan. But we're going to see how that turns out. But we knowing that DJ Donald Trump is giving Venezuela their last warning. But back here, it's saying right here that Putin is trying to want to come to some type of deal to end this war, between Ukraine and the United States, but he's saying that Europe, which in fact is NATO, these NATO countries, saying that it will be no deal. So they going back and forth. So now it could be another war breaking out. But the Lord already said there will be rumors of wars, left and right. He said, "Be not, be not." Said, but these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. That's what I'm trying to say. But let's get a little bit more. It said Putin has shown little desire for compromise, believing Russia is winning on the battlefield. So right here, Russia, is a powerhouse, just as powerful as the United States. But we already know the United States is the number one superpower for now. But we already know that America is slowly declining. America is slowly becoming a third world country. We've seen it happening right before our eyes. Also, we know that this nation is divided. It cannot stand. We already seeing all these things happen. All these other nations are seeing it too. It says here, let's get a little bit more. It said, meanwhile, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky said that some things still need to be worked out in the draft, said peace plan, but that now more than ever, there is a chance to end this war. And once again, when they say peace and safety, then total destruction will come upon them. So that's exactly what they're going back and forth, a 5-hour meeting, and also we see that NATO, these European countries constantly bucking up against this peace deal because they're already seeing that Russia is constantly flexing their muscle, in their airspace. So we already know at some point that they are going to come together against the West and Israel. It's already been prophesied. But, the Lord is constantly causing these things to happen, all these different rumors of war. We're seeing nation rising against nation. A lot of things is constantly happening. You know what I'm saying? The second war has passed, but the third will come quickly. World War III is right upon our doors. It is here. It is at the door. A lot of things is constantly happening. It says here, on the ground in Ukraine, it said military says fighting is ongoing. It said in the key eastern city of Pulaski. It said after the Kremlin claimed its forces has taken it. So little by little, we're seeing that Russia is constantly taking more and more of Ukraine. So now they're trying to come with this peace deal. All of a sudden, in simultaneous that the U.S. is getting ready to go into Venezuela. It just doesn't make any sense trying to get a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine, and now they're trying to go into Venezuela, which in fact is Russia, also China, and if I'm not mistaken, Iran, allies. So how is this working out? So we already know that all hell is getting ready to break loose at any given time. So now let's go here. Let's go to this next news report I got here. Let's go to this one here by DJ Donald Trump. It said Trump threats brings war with Venezuela closer as contradiction. Let's see. I don't know if I want to get. We might get this one. Let's see which one I want to get. Let's get this one here. We're just going to open it up. We just might read the title, but we already know that he's warning him that, at any given day that they get ready to go into Venezuela. And also, once again, we know that Venezuela is allies with Russia and China. So we see how these things are lining up, even though DJ Donald Trump is trying to make a peace deal with Ukraine and Russia, but we seeing how these things are. The vibration here, we already know the tension is rising. We know that all hell is going to break loose. So we're just going to read the title of this. I have a video to bring it out with a little bit more edification. It said this one here is by CNN Politics. It said Trump threats bring war with Venezuela closer as contradictions and legal fears mount. So right here, he constantly been warning him left and right that, this is his last chance, trying to get him to surrender, trying to get him to turn himself in. But the president of Venezuela, which in fact is Maduro, said he's not going to bend a bulge. He's not going to bend. So we seeing right now these things are constantly picking up. Let's get just a little bit of this. It's an intensifying U.S. threats against Venezuela are rising. Said expectations of imminent military action as President Donald Trump heaps pressures on the caucus regime and flex power in the Western Hemisphere. He said every public signs and warning by the president raises the risk that the U.S. is on an inexorable path towards a military confrontation that would represent a big political gamble, giving the public's apathy towards new foreign policy. So that's all we're going to get at that. You know, it's a lot of reading, but you can always go back and look at this report here. But we already know that Trump is warning Venezuela for the last time. So this military mission could go down at any given time. And also we seeing right now, you know, this is getting ready to kick off, and all DJ Donald Trump is trying to cease the war in Ukraine. See, this does not, you know, we already know that all hell is getting ready to break loose. You know, it keeps saying that like China and Russia, they gonna just be silent, but we already know this is going to escalate. We know that things is going to spiral out of control. So now let's get this quick precept, and I got one more video before we start today. Let's go here to Psalm chapter 2 and verse 1. It said, "Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing?" So why do the heathen rage? You know, why they imagine a vain thing to become the next superpower, the one that's going to be in charge. But we already know that this earth age, this eon is coming to an end. You know, the reign of the heathen is almost over. You know, the times of the Gentiles is almost fulfilled, and the Lord is getting ready to return and bring forth that righteous kingdom that dwells in righteousness. So this is very vain thing. So let's go into this word vain thing. Let's go into the interstellar right quick. Let's get a little bit more on that. Let's go here. Say a vain thing. H7385. Let's get here. Let's see.
Strong's H7385. Reek.
So it says here the online biblical usage, it said emptiness, vanity, empty, owl, vile. Let's go into the strong definition. It says here emptiness. It said figuratively a worthless thing. And it says here vain, it's empty. Said empty to, no purpose, vain. So, which in fact is it's worthless what they're trying to do, because as it is written, it shall come to pass. So we seeing right here that the heathens are raging. They imagine a vain thing, something that is empty, got emptiness in it. It's very vain, you know, with no purpose, because out of the body, you know, whatever they try to do, they would not be able to perform their enterprise. So that's reading NLT. It said, "Why are the nations so angry? Why do they waste their time with futile plans?" Which in fact, they are wasting their time, because, you know, the Lord is getting ready to usher in the kingdom of heaven that dwells in right. So the next superpower, what is coming, is the kingdom of heaven that dwells in right. Esau is the end of this earth age, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow. No matter what he tries to do, they don't give a damn what type of peace deal he come with. You know, the Lord already said all hell is going to break loose. The Lord is getting ready to destroy this place. The Lord is getting ready to bring these heathens down very low. We are there. We're in a transition of power. So now, let's get to this last little video, and after the video, we'll start the lesson. And I hope that you will get edified.
4 ships, including our largest carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, are now in the Caribbean. Venezuela is surrounded. The strike group is waiting on orders from the commander-in-chief, as the president's holding high-level meetings at the White House, calculating our next move against the narco state. The choice is Maduro's. Trump's giving him an ultimatum: abdicate power or else. This time, it wasn't a perfect phone call. The Venezuelan strongman reportedly asked for global amnesty, and Trump said, how about no? Then he said, what if I hold free and fair elections? Trump said, no, you already did that and you lost. Then he asked, if I step down, can I still control the military? 47 said, pack your bags. Even with a $50 million bounty on his head, Maduro's maintained an iron grip on power by bribing his cronies with kickbacks from the coke, oil, and gold rackets. But this time, the narcos aren't calling shots anymore. Uncle Sam is, aka Trump. And the president's tightening the noose. In the last 24 hours, Trump declared the airspace above Venezuela entirely closed. Closing airspace can only mean one thing. This is escalating, and it's escalating quickly. The commander-in-chief isn't going to ratchet up the pressure, then walk away without a win. There's no way Maduro can face down the full force of a U.S. carrier strike group. The president is keeping his options open.
What's the position on whether U.S. troops on the ground is a possibility there? Is that, I know you've answered that before, but what's the current operative
in Venezuela? I think my previous answer stands. There's many options at the president's disposal that are on the table.
Maduro's a sitting duck, and word on the street is he'll be out of power before Christmas. No one's bailing the socialist out. He's getting no love from his sponsors in Beijing and Moscow. Putin and Xi Jinping are at the table with Trump doing much bigger trade and diplomatic deals. They're not going to throw Maduro a lifeline and jeopardize the deals over a small fry in our backyard.
So now let's start today's lesson. We'll start here first in Jeremiah. So we're seeing that, war threats are all over the place. Rumors of wars left and right, so there will be no peace. We going to see that these things going to constantly pick up. Things going to constantly escalate. Things going to spiral out of control. World War III is at the door. So now let's start here at Jeremiah chapter 51. And we'll start up at verse 45. Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 45. We start here. Let me scroll down to it right quick. One moment. Let's see here. Okay, let's start here. Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 45 says, My people, go ye out of the midst of her, and deliver ye every man his soul for the fierce anger of the Lord. It says here, verse 46, it says, unless your heart faint and ye fear for the rumor that shall be heard in the land. A rumor shall both come in 1 year, and after that in another year shall come a rumor. Shall come a rumor and violence in the land. Rulers against rulers. So that's exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing all sorts of rumors of war. We're seeing rulers against rulers. We're seeing what nations are rising against nations. A lot of things are constantly happening. That's what we're constantly warning you about, left and right. You know what I'm saying? So let's read this once again. It said, verse 45 said, My people, go ye out of the midst of her, and deliver ye every man his soul from the fierce anger of the Lord. So one thing about it, it says, come out of her, my people, flee from Babylon, save yourself, run from the Lord's fierce anger. So we know that at some point the Lord's going to bring forth his judgment like we have never seen before. So I read it in KJV, and I jumped over to the NLT, the Lord, said, flee out of the midst of Babylon, because this is not your rest. This place is getting ready to be overrun by the enemy, starting, with these China, Russia, also with NATO, the UN, these sleeper cells, all these things are coming to America. So this could pop all that off. So we already had rumors that if they go into Venezuela, they were going to activate these sleeper cells that's already here in America that is waiting on the green light. So we have, this place is full of the enemy. So this place is going to be taken down from the inside out. So, we seeing that these things are happening. So we constantly seeing all sorts of rumors, all sorts of mischief, all sorts of these nations are rising against nations. Also, all sorts of what? Division. Let's get this here in the NLT, the verse 46. Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 46 in the NLT said, but do not panic. Said, don't be afraid when you hear the first rumor of approaching forces. Said, for rumors will come. Said, for rumors will come, will keep coming year by year, Violence will erupt in the lands as the leaders fight against each other. So that's spot on. Let me read that again because I kind of butchered. My tongue is a little dry. Salakia for that. It says here, Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 46 said, but do not panic. Don't be afraid when you hear the first rumor of approaching forces. Said, for rumors will keep coming year by year. Violence will erupt in the land as the leaders fight against each other. So that's exactly what we're seeing. But the Lord said, do not panic, because what? The end is not yet. We at the beginning of sorrow. And the Lord already said that these things will happen before his great and glorious return. And also we know that our salvation is very close at hand. Also we know that we're very close to the implementation of the MOTB, the RFID microchip, which in fact is the mark of the beast. So these things are right upon us. War threats everywhere. Let's go here. Get this one here in Matthew chapter 24. The Lord already told us what to look for. Let's go here, chapter 24, and we go straight to the point in verse 6. It says here, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of war. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So we seeing right now, these rumors of war, these threats of war, they constantly happening left and right. We're seeing about Venezuela, any given day. We're seeing about China and Taiwan, also China and Japan. And also we know about Israel and Iran, war threats pretty much everywhere, all over the place, and we seeing these things are coming together. Also Russia, and NATO, Russia and Ukraine, these things right here, right before our eyes. So let's read it once again. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6 said, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So the end is not yet. The Lord already said these things are going to happen. Do not panic, because it's more to come. So let's read it in the NLT. It said, and you will hear of wars and threats of wars. It said, but don't panic. Yes, these things must take place, but the end won't follow immediately. But it's coming. You know what I'm saying? Through the spirit and the power of Yahweh, Ba'ashim Abishai. These things are coming left and right. Let's get verse 7. It said, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. So this is exactly what we're seeing. These nations are rising up against one another and constantly preparing for war. Let's read in NLT. Nation will go to war against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in many parts of the world. So that's exactly what we're seeing left and right. Also, it's saying it's a lot of earthquakes went off in L.A. and what's this other part? Some part of that ring of fire. Also, we know a lot of volcanic eruption over there in Ethiopia. Said it's a volcanic. It's been asleep for over 12,000 years. All of a sudden, it has erupted. So a lot of things is happening. The Lord said these things would happen before his great and glorious return. Also pestilence and famines, all sorts of rumors of that. Also, so a great economic collapse. A lot of things are happening. The Lord is constantly warning us through the prophecy. Also, he's warning us through his mouthpiece. The prophets. We're seeing these things are happening left and right, man. It is here. It is at the door. So, man, we're going to do some perilous time. Verse 8, it says, all these are the beginning of sorrows. So right here, the beginning of sorrow, the birth pain, the transition of power. The Lord said these things will happen before all hell break loose. Let's see here, verse 8. Said, but all this is only the first of the birth pains, with more to come. So more is getting ready to come. Things are going to intensify. Things are going to pick up. And all hell is going to break loose. So now let's go to this one here. Let's go to Revelations Revelation chapter 11, because we seeing that the World War III is fastly approaching. It's the blink of an eye. It's imminent. You already seeing right there. If they go into Venezuela, this could be a domino effect, which in fact I'm thinking it will be. We already know that at some point Russia, China, also NATO is going to turn on the U.S., Babylon the Great, and also Israel. So it's already been prophesied. It says here, Revelation chapter 11 and verse 14, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe come quickly. And out of that woe goes into destruction. And that third war is the last and final war. The wars to end all wars before the great and glorious return of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. It is fast approaching. It is at the door. So now let's go to this last one, because the Lord is gathering the nation for the controversy of Zion. The Lord is in perfect control. Let's go back. I hit Jeremiah is in Zephaniah 3 and verse 8, if I'm not mistaken. It says here, let's go to this here straight to the point. We're going to close out here. Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 8 said, therefore wait ye upon me, says the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nation, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them my indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. So it's like exactly, the Lord already planned these things to happen. So the Lord is constantly gathering the nation. The Lord is constantly putting the chess pieces together. The Lord is causing these uprisings left and right, these rumors, this mischief, all sorts of things is happening, but the Lord is in perfect control. Let's read in NLT. It says, therefore be patient, says the Lord. Soon I will stand and accuse these evil nations, for I have decided to gather the kingdoms of the earth and pour out my fiercest anger and fury on them all. Said the earth will be devoured by the fire of my jealousy. So one thing about it is talking about those IBCM missing, and also that laser and chariot fire when the Lord return. There will be no more talking. The Lord's going to come in the day of gloominess, the day of darkness, in the midst of World War III, the war in heaven. When you go to, I think it's Revelation chapter 12. So the Lord is going to return, set up that righteous order, and put the rightful owners back in their first estate, which in fact is the elect, the true believers of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. And also we shall rule with a rod of iron. So we seeing these threats. We seeing nations are rising against nations. We seeing all sorts of calamities, all sorts of events that's happening throughout the world. And also we know that the Lord is getting ready to return. The Lord has set these things into motion. Bible prophecy is speaking loud and clear. And also, once again, our salvation is at the door. So the title of today's lesson, once again, is News and Prophecy, War Threats. So I'd like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rikah Kwadash. I like to say, Shalom, Shalom.